is pulled to safety. In a city that depends on cars, trucks, and freeways, some major arteries are buckled, crumbled, collapsed, or impassable. Most people stayed home this day. Finding a way to work tomorrow or the next day, and for many days to come, will be a big headache. In Sylmar, awesome, eerie sight. The quake cracked open water and natural gas lines, creating the spectacle of simultaneous fire and flood. During this next hour, we will look more closely at the disaster, hear from survivors and rescuers, and check to see what help is on the way. Until today, the Northridge Meadows apartment complex was just another suburban apartment community amid the palm trees of the San Fernando Valley. But all that changed with the quake. Screams pierced the darkness, babies wailed, and adults were filled with terror as the complex collapsed. CNN's Greg Lefebvre joins us from the complex, which had the highest death toll in this day's quake. Greg?
Bernie, it's an awful thing to think that at this one great place there was the one greatest calamity of this earthquake. About half of the death toll occurred right here where this three-story building collapsed to a height perhaps less than 2 stories tall. Yes, the toll now 14 dead. Every few hours another body emerges, rescuers pouring through the wreckage, picking one out here, another there. The others are so trapped inside that rescuers do not feel it is safe to get them out or simply cannot get to them. They are using dogs to further sniff through the rubble. They will use sensitive electronic listening devices all night long to detect for further signs of life. This was a harrowing and terrifying ride this morning for Daniel and Mago Gelman.
We both woke up startled. We knew it was an earthquake, and it was just a real shake. It was a real shake. You know, no waves. It was just a real shake, solid, and it seemed to last for a long time, but eventually it stopped.
Now, when did you feel the floors underneath of you give way?
We actually didn't feel the floors give away. We worked our way downstairs, and once we got downstairs in an open area, we saw the devastation that the first floor was actually gone. So that was typical, you know. We didn't think it was that bad, and it was really a lot worse.
As each hour goes by, the horror of this calamity seems to unpeel like an onion, another layer, a deeper layer. We have more in this report from CNN's Robert Vito.
Violent and vicious. That's how residents describe the earthquake that destroyed this apartment complex, home to about 300 people.
This was a bomb. It went off under our complex, picked it up, and threw it back down 12 feet and crushed these first-floor apartments within 4 seconds.
We lost everything, pretty much. My car's a pancake.
We've lost everything, and my car was flattened, and his truck. So we're without transportation. We have no money. We can't go in. We have no credit cards. We have nothing but what I have on my back and what he has.
Rescuers were able to save more than 24 residents trapped beneath the rubble.
I want to know where your boat was.
The building that covers nearly a half square mile actually was lifted several feet off its foundation by the quake. When it came back down, it hit with such force that the entire first floor was actually pushed beneath the ground. Authorities say it was mostly residents of the first floor who were killed.
The second floor is down to the bottom now. All the first floor is smashed. The people that were under there were killed.
My roommate and I got out alive, and I think we're only a few of the ones that got out of the first floor alive.
There were many examples of bravery. Individuals crawling through the rubble of the apartment complex. Fire officials say they were responsible for saving the lives of many people.
And we had to leave a lifetime of possessions there, and we hope we'll be able to recover it, but who knows.
The Red Cross and the Salvation Army are on the scene of the disaster, bringing with them plenty of food and water. And they are both setting up disaster shelters for people who lost everything. Robert Vito, CNN, Northridge, California.
Rescuers will continue to work this building all through the night, and as each little aftershock or big aftershock comes along, this building becomes all the more dangerous, all the more fragile, all the more hazardous for the people inside. Bernie?
Greg, tonight, as you move around out there, what are people saying? How do they seem? What are they doing?
The first thing they say is, it's dark. This is a city full of lights, as you said, and now it is dark. The only lights you see around here are the illuminations of the rescue crews and of the news crews. But you step 200 feet in each direction and it gets very, very dark. That's awfully scary to people in a town used to being able to see where they're going.
That point was made by Senator Barbara Boxer on Larry King Live just a few moments ago. She'd taken a chopper ride with Transportation Secretary Pena, and one of the things that struck her were the patches of darkness as she looked down below. Are people indicating to you that regardless of what authorities say, some of them indeed will stay outdoors tonight out of sheer fear?
Yes. As we were driving to the scene, as we continue to drive around this area, people are simply camped outside their homes. They're afraid to go back inside, and this is Exhibit A of why they're afraid to return to their homes. Sorry, Bernie, I didn't hear that.
Oh, I didn't say anything. I was just going to thank you very much. Greg Lefebvre out there. We'll come back to you. Throughout Southern California today, tales of people helping people amid the terror and the destruction. One of the most dramatic rescue operations was at a collapsed shopping center parking deck in Northridge. Our Mark Carter joins us now from the shopping center. Mark?
Bernie, you're right. I'm here at that shopping mall in Northridge, California. And while it may be cliche in these situations to say it might have been a lot worse, I think you can see behind me evidence that in this case, that is absolutely the case. This three-story parking deck collapsed during the earthquake, but there was, as you said, a story of real heroism here. A parking attendant was rescued, and CNN's Paul Verkaman has that story.
When the quake hit, the upper tiers of the Fashion Center parking structure in Northridge crashed down on a custodian. Soon after, a co-worker heard the cries of a man trapped in a small sweeping truck beneath a pile of collapsed concrete. At 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, firefighters began their efforts to extricate the man they knew only by his first name, Salvador, from El Salvador. Firefighters say they found the man that they estimated to be between 35 and 40 years old, sitting upright in tremendous pain, his legs crushed and pinned above the knee by a beam.
The one thing that was a very favorable sign is his vital signs stayed good throughout the entire rescue, and he was talking to us, so that was good.
The rescue crews worked to free the man, cutting up wood for support and leverage, and using inflatable bladders to lift the concrete off the victim.
And the bladders are airbags, and what we actually use that for is lifting. We had 2 airbags down there that would lift 74 ton each, and we had 2 other airbags down there that would lift 43 tons. We use all of them to get the job done, and the coordination has to be very precise.
Six firemen crawled down into a hole trying to free Salvador, and they succeeded at about 1:15. First, firefighters put the custodian in an ambulance and then later airlifted him to UCLA Medical Center. Salvador lived to tell about the day he escaped from what firefighters suggest could have become a concrete tomb. Paul Verkaman, CNN, Northridge, California.
Bernie? At this hour, how are people reacting to these endless aftershocks?
Well, Bernie, there have been about 200 aftershocks since the quake, perhaps the strongest hitting at about 3:30 local time, 5.5 on the Richter scale. We felt it very strongly here. As you can imagine, nerves are very jittery. Several people have told us they may be sleeping outside tonight, so there's a lot of nervousness here in the air tonight in Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mark Carter. And our special coverage of this tragedy today will continue when we return.
I myself today, unfortunately, had to confirm 3 dead. I found one myself. I had a lady who was alive. She had a couple beams on her back, down on a bed on the first floor, and I heard her, and I went in there, and I got a flashlight on her leg, and heard her muffled calls for help, and I said I'd be right back in just a couple minutes. I was back in 3 or 4 minutes, and already gone.
As you know, freeways are our lifeline here in Southern California, and that line was severed by the quake that struck early this morning. Several highways and interstates, including the major north-south artery, were closed after sections of roadway collapsed. The State Department of Transportation says that will disrupt the lives of millions of people throughout this region. We get more on this part of the story from Jill Hill here in Los Angeles.
Jolted out of bed by the powerful earthquake, millions of people in the San Fernando Valley awoke to sirens, flames, and chaos. Fires raged along major streets like Ventura Boulevard as gas lines broke in businesses, homes, and several large trailer parks. A number of major highways were closed as concrete overpasses collapsed. Just north of the quake epicenter, huge slabs of Highway 14 fell onto Interstate 5, the major freeway that leads north out of Los Angeles. One man was killed here and several other people were critically injured as their cars slammed into the sudden barrier that fell in front of them.
I thought I was going to die because considering that I practically didn't see the bridge until I hit it, and that I pretty much walked away because I thought I was going to die.
As emergency crews arrived on the scene, a motorcycle-mounted policeman became one of the quake fatalities. According to witnesses, the officer died as he apparently sped to the scene of the freeway collapse. In the darkness of the early morning, he and his motorcycle plunged over the edge.
And we ran over to him, and he was face down, so we very gently turned him over, and he was just bleeding uncontrollably from the mouth and the nostrils, and I mean, just there was some movement in the mouth, but it appeared that there was no breathing at that point.
Emergency crews have been stretched to the limit. Los Angeles mayor declared a state of emergency, and President Clinton immediately sent his disaster chief to Los Angeles. Residents were told to stay in their homes if they were not injured, as hospitals geared up to treat those who were, and aftershocks continued to periodically rumble across the heavily populated San Fernando Valley. Jim Hill for CNN, Los Angeles.
Government leaders are jumping in to ease the earthquake's aftermath and the public fears that are following. Los Angeles Mayor Richard Riordan has imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew to undercut opportunities for looting and violence in the confusion. Los Angeles Police Chief, he has beefed up round-the-clock patrols. Mayor Riordan is also encouraging residents to conserve electricity and water because of extensive utility damage.
Significant facilities have been severely damaged. We are still assessing the full scope of that damage. On the power side, the earthquake temporarily knocked out all 4 of our in-basin generating plants.
The light from the through windows is very bright. So I look at the outside, and then the flames just after my house.
The Lee's house and 4 others on their street were destroyed, but the family of 4, despite its material loss, was intact and uninjured. Others in the San Fernando communities, Northridge, Sylmar, Granada Hills, were injured. Granada Hills Community Hospital quickly filled up and overflowed. The hospital conducted triage in its parking lot.
We've seen at least about 100 people that have come through our triage already, and probably at least another 50 to 75 people that are on premises right now.
There were nearly as many cameras. One radio helicopter landed to evacuate a quake victim to a burn center. Sylmar High School became a shelter for some 200. The school's lunch, the day's first meal. The quake turned lives inside out.
A huge number of households which are without electricity, which have no usable water, and in some cases, massive structural damage, which keeps the people from even spending the night in their homes or apartments.
And businesses upside down.
Somebody has to cover it. I don't have the money to cover this whole thing. You know, it's a big, big damage.
As shocking as Monday morning's wake-up call was, folks in this San Fernando Valley community were quick to recall that they'd been through it before.
33, I was 4 years old.
Flying north and south in California, and it is cut off tonight, as we've been telling you all day, and now they're saying it could possibly be months before this area is cleaned up and open and normal again. CHP officers were just on top here assessing the situation, seeing how much damage there is. Again, you know, it's miraculous. There was an LAPD officer here who tragically died when his motorcycle came flying off the overpass there, pitch black, before dawn. He didn't see that this road had collapsed in front of him, and he died. But the other drivers here all lived. Even this guy. This guy walked away, the guy who was in this car behind that steering wheel when this came down on him, a freeway overpass. And Ironically, back 23 years ago in 1971, this same freeway interchange collapsed during another earthquake, and they rebuilt the overpass under new code. I'm going to show you a little bit of that here. Under the new code, they put in this rebar. You can see more of it here. They have these tensioning cables. All of this stuff is supposed to keep these freeway overpasses up at least through a 6 or 7 earthquake. Obviously, you can't prepare for everything, but they were hoping it would survive this. It did not. We saw Caltrans engineers inside crawling through these structures today, trying to find out exactly what went wrong, and that will be the big question here in the coming weeks.
And Jane, I should tell our viewers that that police officer from the Los Angeles Police Department was racing in from home. He got on his motorcycle, was racing in from home to assist in the emergency actions by the local authorities here. One quick question before we lose our satellite. What has made the strongest impression on you, a reporter?
That's hard to say. I think for me, I grew up in this very same area, and I remember as a little girl that 1971 earthquake, which so scared me, and to wake up this morning and to be so scared again, and to hear my little girl crying and screaming and having to hold her and tell her it was okay, hand her to her father and run into work. I think personally that's the strongest impression I've had.
Jane Wells, KTTV, thank you very, very much for all your assistance.
Sure.
Our special coverage of the Southern California earthquake will continue in a moment.
Day 3, fresh flowers. You can't help but notice all the fresh flowers aboard this Royal Caribbean ship. Someone's always scrubbing or polishing something. Our waiter Emilio told us the sheets are washed in soft water in case you've been out in the sun too long. Our ship sailed south. I head north, upstairs to the health spa.
You've got some Royal Caribbean coming.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but hot and cold foods hurt.
That's why dentists recommend Sensodyne toothpaste to help stop pain and build protection against future pain every day.
Thanks, Sensodyne.
Trust Sensodyne, the dentist's recommendation for sensitive teeth.
Dividend reinvestment plans let you buy stocks without a broker. And this guide will get you started.
With DRPs, we can save thousands in brokers' commissions.
Call toll-free now, and the Money Paper will send you this valuable guide to dividend reinvestment plans. Here's everything you need to start investing in blue chips like Bell South, General Electric, McDonald's, and over 800 other companies.
Even small investors can build a diversified portfolio using the guide.
Call now and you'll also receive a free issue of the Money Paper, the recognized authority on DRPs for the past 10 years.
I never knew it was so easy to buy stocks without a broker.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-356-9200 for your guide to DRPs. This $25 value is only $9, plus you get a free issue of the Money Paper. Satisfaction's guaranteed. Call 1-800-356-9200. 1-800-356-9200.
Pardon me, just getting some late information. Updating this day's Southern California earthquake. The death toll from the quake continues to mount. It now stands at 27. More than 1,000 people have sought help at county hospitals. A couple of hours ago, Los Angeles Mayor Richard Riordan imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on this city. He also has declared a state of emergency. And this quake also has thrown education into chaos for the time being. All schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District are closed Tuesday. The quake centered in the San Fernando Valley, north of Los Angeles. It was the strongest in this area in more than 2 decades. It measured 6.6 on the Richter scale. The worst death toll was at this apartment complex in Northridge, where at least 14 people lost their lives. Floors caved in on one another, crushing some residents as they slept. Now, this region, which relies heavily on the automobile, will have to cope with some traffic nightmares. Overpasses on some heavily used freeways crash to the roads below. Highways buckled throughout this area. And President Clinton has declared the region a federal disaster area, and he says the United States government is pulling out all the stops to rush aid to the victims of this Southern California earthquake. We told you that in about 3 hours or so, in nearby Pasadena, an important high-level meeting of FEMA officials, state authorities, local and county authorities, that will get underway at 10:30 Pacific time in Pasadena. We have some pictures in. This is videotape from CNN affiliate KTTV. Now, people are assembling at a tennis court in Van Nuys, California, about 20 miles from here. This is an aerial shot. And people are organizing themselves, deciding what they're going to do, and they continue to assist one another following this disaster.
150 cars anyway, and just tents just pitched all over. And then, I don't know if we can tell it, but yeah, there you go, you're on the tennis courts now. There are people pitching little places to brother out their bedding and so forth to sleep on the tennis courts. And the attraction out here is the fact that there are lights. This is one of the few areas in this little pocket anyway that has lights. And so people are taking advantage of that. And for safety reasons, I guess, they're coming together in large groups. That's another reason. And just sort of making the best of it that they can, I guess. Large gathering of people down there. We don't see any law enforcement or anything like that, just a large group of people trying to do the best they can to try to get through a very, very difficult situation.
And these residents, of course, showing great discipline, too, not needing the police authorities in that instance. Earlier, our correspondents, Mark Carter and Greg Lefebvre, were noting that in some areas there is darkness, and people are coping with that fact. The official statistics and statements of a natural disaster share one theme: people in crisis. We look back now at some of the people of Southern California in this crisis of an earthquake aftermath, beginning for them and for me early this morning.
We are just getting word of an earth tremor in the Los Angeles area. We're not sure yet how big, how serious it may have been, but CNN correspondent and anchor Bernard Shaw is in the Los Angeles area now and is joining us by telephone. Bernie, what can you tell us?
Bob, basically I can tell you that approximately 9 to 10 minutes ago, I was bolted and snatched out of my sleep, and I just sat up in the middle of the bed. I sort of supported myself in the middle of the bed. I saw the ceiling rolling. I can feel another aftershock right now. And as I look around the room, the top drawer and the chest of drawers has been snatched open, and the bed light on the right side of the bed, it's on its side a ceramic vase type, ginger jar type lamp. The lampshade is on the floor. I've looked out the windows. There's nobody in the streets, but occasionally I can see flashes off the horizon as if possibly something electrical might have gone out.
This was not a regular earthquake. This is not the kind of thing when you do this rock and roll type thing that I've felt for the last 26 years. This was a bomb. It went off under our complex, picked it up, and threw it back down 12 feet and crushed these first floor apartments within 4 seconds of it starting. I was up, over, and down in 4 seconds. I couldn't believe it. I was flying through the air. I landed on my bed. My wife, I tried to pull her to the center of the bed so nothing would hit us. The dressers were falling on the way down as the building came down. As the building came down, it came down and went over diagonally. What happened when it did that is it fused all the doors shut. We could not get out.
Come on, let's get out of here. Let's go. Come on, come on. I'm in. Be fair. Come on. It could be you. You better get out of here.
Come on, back out. I'm going to have to move.
Slide him off, cease mine here.
A little more. Come on up.
Come on, let's come up to cease mine.
We feel very fortunate we're out with our lives. And our car is now sheet metal. It was under the building in the rear. And we had to leave a lifetime of possessions there, and we hope we'll be able to recover it, but who knows.
Back out here, okay? John. Come on down there.
Now I can see the Super Bowl.
You see? Who's going to win it? Get back! I want to know who you're voting on. Come on, out here, guys, out here. Come on, get out here, work on it. Come on now. Wait,
on, let's get the paramedics some room to work here, okay? You got it? Here, get some tools over here, guys.
It's me, Jennifer, up here.
How great.
How you doing, sweetie?
Where do you hurt the most, sir?
Where you hurt?
Right across the stomach.
We've lost everything, and my car was flattened, and his truck. So we're without transportation. We have no money. We can't go in. We have no credit cards. We have nothing but what I have on my back and what he has. We couldn't salvage a thing.
Finding it on some of these tennis courts in Van Nuys, California, about 20 miles from Los Angeles. We heard the KTTV reporters indicating that there were no authorities on the ground, that these Californians are doing this on their own. They're very disciplined. Let's pick up their coverage with Pamela Corrante.
Here of the people parked in this one location. I have to wonder, though, actually it's a taped picture that we took just a few minutes ago. Do you send Red Cross trucks out to locations to help people, or do they basically have to come to the shelters?
Oh, no, we do have some mobile units out at the sites where disasters have occurred, and obviously there's more type of assistance available at the shelter, but last I heard we had about 16 trucks already out and 15 more en route. I'm not sure what the status of that is right now, but you know, that type of help is available, but again, we really encourage those people out there to get to a Red Cross shelter and, you know, sign on with a caseworker for family assistance, and also just to have some place safe and secure to stay.
You know, I was at a Red Cross shelter not long ago during some of the fires, and I wanted to ask you, because I was surprised at the range of services available in the shelters. I mean, bilingual services, matching up people and locating people. Could you just overview some of those services available?
Certainly, yes. We do have bilingual staff and volunteers at certain shelters where there would be a pretty large population of Spanish-speaking or other languages. Okay, I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry, but we have to interrupt you. We have something we have to get on the air right away, and we're going to check in.
And when we come back with our live coverage of the Southern California earthquake, we're going to go back to the streets. We're going to hear from Greg Lefebvre and Mark Carter.
At 10.
The big chill is on the way by the time you wake up tomorrow.
Have feared for years. Tonight, we have live team coverage from the hardest hit areas. The numbers are staggering. The quake registered 6.6 on the Richter scale. Right now, at least 27 people are dead. More than 1 million homes and businesses are without electricity tonight. And damage is expected to total more than $1 billion. We begin our extensive team coverage with Channel 2's Penny Daniels. She is live in Los Angeles. Penny?
Los Angeles and surrounding areas still coping with a major disaster tonight. Some 200,000 people are still without water. Half the people in this area still without power. A lot of people are sleeping in public parks tonight despite a curfew here. They are afraid to go home, afraid their already damaged homes won't withstand the threat of further aftershock. The fires, the damage, and the fear continues tonight. Southern California buckles down and braces for a night without power and the promise of more aftershocks. It was not the big one today, but that's little comfort tonight. The initial quake registered 6.6 on the Richter scale. More than 200 aftershocks followed.
I tried to run out. I got out within 10 seconds. I was out in this alleyway trying to make it, but as you can see, I couldn't make it. I was getting bricks on my head, so I turned around and went back to my apartment. As I was running, I was getting hit with, it was just raining bricks.
It exploded and we were in there. And then the apartment was just engulfed in flames, so we just made our way to the front door and gas. And
the deadly quake struck before dawn, collapsing buildings, buckling the region's lifeline of freeways, and igniting more than 100 fires. The death toll continues to climb tonight as rescue workers search through the wreckage. At least 14 people died in the collapse of an apartment building, which was lifted several feet off its foundation. When it crashed down, it crushed to death residents on the ground floor. At least 5 people died of quake-related heart attacks. The quake damaged up to 1,000 buildings and blacked out power to an estimated 1 million people. Water mains burst, flooding neighborhoods. Shelters were opened for people who were not able to stay in their homes. And Los Angeles Mayor Richard Riordan imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew to thwart looters.
The Los Angeles Police Department has been fully deployed